Hello and welcome to episode 355 of the Daily Sales Message Sales Podcast, where every single day I say the word sales as much as possible for the algorithmic gods, but also more importantly, I share a piece of sales advice that's designed to help you feel more confident and sell more stuff. And even more importantly than that, it's like to be super duper practical and easy to implement, because that's really important. In today's episode, we're talking about this. If you itemization. If you itemize, you essentially are commoditizing what you're doing, and you're making it easier for people to haggle and people to have an issue with your price. In my own business, I've never charged by the hour or by a period of time. When I say never, very, very rarely. 99.99% of the work that I do is project-based work. I will create a clear sales message for you. It's a fixed price, fixed deliverable offering. This is what it will cost. This is what you'll get. There you go. What I would never do for clear sales message in particular is say, well, it's £100 an hour, and see how many hours that takes. It take me 13 hours or whatever. Because as soon as you itemize your pricing on what you're doing, you're commoditizing yourself, and you've probably done this yourself, right? So somebody, particularly if you're dealing with a solicitor or some kind of professional services, they charge £100 an hour, and you think, hang on a minute, I only earn £40 an hour, £10 an hour, £20 an hour myself. So you immediately contrast it. And secondarily to that, you're like, it's going to take you 3 hours to read a letter? Could you not do it I could do it in less time than that. So I have a bit of friction. Whereas if that solicitor said, I'll read that letter for you, I'll craft the perfect response to you, it's going to be X. Okay, great. That's what I want. That's the end result. That's what I want. There we go. Might be a bit pricey, but you've got nothing to compare it against. It's not commoditized because I haven't itemized. So that's the moral of the story today. And this is something that's very, very kind of commonplace throughout the consultancy self-employed world, is if you sell hours, if you sell time, it can more often than not be trickier because it allows people to compare, to haggle, to talk about, it's really going to take you that long, and you're really worth that much per hour, versus just charging for the end result. I'll do this for you. That's how much it will cost. You don't need to know how many hours it will or won't take me. You're paying me for the result. That's really what you get, and that's what you want. So itemizing leads to commoditizing. It leads to a little bit of friction with price and discounting. So if possible, I suggest you avoid it. Right, that's it for this episode of the podcast. Tomorrow in episode 356, we're going to talk about something that is contagious. Very, very contagious, in fact. But you have to be the super spreader. I'll explain more about that in tomorrow's episode as my kind of hook-ins for the next episode get even more obscure and weird every single time. In the meantime, as you lose my diction and pronunciation, thank you for listening or watching all the way to the end. I appreciate it, particularly as I talk fast and I'm a little bit strange. I'll catch you tomorrow for another exciting edition of the Daily Sales Message Podcast.